Hey guys, this is Marcel with GL, and today I'm going to go over the Barber State Board Practical Exam Kit. Now before we dive into this, I just want to get into a quick disclaimer about the contents of our test kit. Our kits are designed as a suggested set of supplies you might need for your practical examination. However, it does not include a mannequin head, a holder, a mannequin hand, curling iron, a blow dryer, or a storage container. Now be sure you purchase those items separately before your test. Now it's super important to remember that each candidate is responsible for what supplies to bring, how to organize them, and how to use them during the practical test. This is a great starting point, but ultimately it's up to you to ensure that you have everything you need. Also, exam requirements can change, so I always recommend checking the latest Candidate Information Bulletin to stay up to date and fully prepared. All right, let's get into the unboxing. Before we get started, I'd like to go over the testing agencies in the US. As of the making of this video, there are two national standards, NIC and PSI National. NIC stands for National Interstate Council of State Board of Cosmetology. Now at GL, we prepare our kits following one of these two national standards. Be sure to check your Candidate Information Bulletin to know which testing agency you're going to be working with. Also, if you're in a state that does not work with one or the other, it's possible that we do not have a kit ready for it yet. That just means that they have their own standard and we have not gotten to make a kit for that state as of now. The other thing you'll notice is these are all the possible supplies for every different state tests. Now your state may not require all of this, just a subset. To make this easier, when you shop on our website, you can shop by state, and we've already arranged the kits to suit each individual state to make it easier. Now, when it comes to Barber Practical State Board Test, there will be two major tests. One is usually called Barber 1 with no chemical services. The other one will normally be called Barber Styling. Again, depending on which you're going to be testing for, we're going to have different kits for that specific purpose. Now, at GL, the way we organize our kits is each bag will be used for a specific task. There's one exception to that. That's going to be the general supplies. So these bags will include all you need to set up your workstation and do your client prep. It also has supplies that you will need throughout the test. For example, the hand sanitizer, a bottle of water, things like that. And it also has disinfectant wipes that are required now by most state board agencies, and it has a pack of 60 wipes in this bag. Now, I'm going to ask Emily, who is behind the camera, to go over each individual items that are in these bags.
Hi everyone, this is Emily. So we are going to get started with our general supplies bag. That includes 6 white salon towels, 3 paper bags, one labeled items to be disinfected, one for trash, and one for soiled linens, 3 trash liners, EPA registered germicidal disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, 3 short capes, an empty water spray bottle labeled water, 24 paper towels, 12 disposable gloves in a bag, 3 neck strips, and 6 spatulas.
The next bag will be for hair cutting. This one includes the shears, and we've included 2 pairs of shears just in case you were to drop one on the floor. You're still good to go. It also has a straight shaving razor. This one has an actual razor blade on it, but I want you to be familiar with your state board regulations. In some instances, you may have to remove the blade before your test and just basically do the simulation instead of using an actual razor blade. So be sure to check your regs before. The other thing you will need that's not included with this task is an actual hair clipper. So you will have to supply that on your own. Now, if you don't have a hair clipper, we do have a great selection of clippers for purchase on our website.
Next, we have hair cutting. Supplies for that bag include 5 butterfly hair clips, a white towel in the bag labeled steam towel, 2 all-purpose styling combs, a clipper comb, 2 pairs of hair cutting shears, 1 straight razor, shaving gel, a Cosmock Simulated Astringent, and cotton balls in the bag labeled cotton.
Next, we have shaving with a straight razor. This again has everything you need for your task. It also has shaving gel and your shaving straight razor. As I mentioned earlier, this has a real razor blade on it, and check with your state regs to see if you have to remove it before testing or not.
Now for shaving with a straight razor, those supplies include a straight razor, shaving gel, 2 white towels in bags labeled steam towel, Cosmock Simulated Astringent, and cotton balls.
Next, we have the first aid kit. Now, if you're testing under NIC, you will also have a task called blood exposure procedure. This box includes everything you need for that specific task portion of your test. If you're testing with PSI National, you're not going to have the blood exposure procedure task, but we'll also include the first aid kit just for safety purposes.
Next, we have the first aid kit, which should be readily accessible during all tasks and is specifically used for the blood exposure procedure. Supplies for that include 4 disposable gloves, a paper bag labeled trash, 2 reclosable plastic bags labeled blood exposure, sealed and reclosable bag labeled mini first aid kit, which include sterile flex fabric bandages, 6 sterile shear bandages, 2 packets of antibiotic ointment, 2 sterile alcohol swabs, 2 cleansing towelettes, and 6 sterile waterproof bandages. And all of these will be supplied in a sealed box.
Next, we have chemical waving. This is one of the tasks that will only be included in the Barber styling exam. It will not be included in Barber 1. One thing I'd like to mention is this task includes a chemical waving simulated lotion. Now, this bottle has a tip that is completely sealed, so you may want to use a pin or a needle to put a hole in that tip before going to your test. The other thing you will notice is it includes a seal that you should not remove until the day of the testing, otherwise it's going to spill all over. So just remember, open the tip, do not remove the seal.
Next, for chemical waving, those supplies include 6 butterfly hair clips, 18 cold wave perm rods, 1 rat tail comb, a 24-inch piece of cotton coil, 24 paper in wraps in the bag labeled in papers, and a Cosmock Simulated Waving Lotion.
Next, we have predisposition and strand test, or PD test. This again will only be included if you're testing for barber styling. Also, if you're testing with PSI National, there's a good chance you will not have to do this part of the exam.
Next, for the predisposition test and strand test, those supplies include a dye brush, a dye bowl, 2 plastic spatulas, 3 cotton rounds, a rat tail comb, 2 foils, and for Cosmock products, you'll have a simulated hair color and a simulated skin cleanser.
Next, we have chemical relaxer. It may also be called hydroxide virgin relaxer, but it's the same thing, and it has all the supplies you need for that task.
Next, for chemical relaxer, those supplies include a rat tail comb, a dye brush, a dye bowl, plastic spatula, and for your Cosmock products, a simulated hair relaxer and a simulated base protective cream.
Next, we have hair color retouch. Again, that's another barber styling only task, and it has your simulated products ready to go.
Next, for hair color retouch, those supplies will include a rat tail comb, dye brush, a dye bowl, plastic spatula, and for your Cosmock products, a simulated hair color and a simulated base protective cream.
The next one is cleansing facial. It can also be called basic facial. It has everything you need to set up the extra client for the specific task. It will not be required in every state, so check your CIB to see if that will be required for you.
Next, for cleansing facial with massage, 2 white towels in bags labeled steam towel, an extra white towel, a reclosable bag labeled aesthetic wipes, which include cotton rounds, aesthetic wipes, and 2 latex-free cosmetic sponges, 4 plastic spatulas, disposable headband, a client drape or shampoo cape, and for your Cosmock products, a simulated facial cleansing cream, a simulated massage cream, and a simulated astringent.
Next, we have blow dry styling and thermal curling. Now, PSI National makes this one task, so you'll need these 2 bags for that specific portion. If you're testing with NIC, it's possible you're only going to have one of these 2 or both, but they will be separate tasks. There's a water bottle, so be sure to bring a water container with you on the day of the test.
Next, for blow dry styling, those supplies include a water spray bottle, thermal hairbrush, styling hairbrush, vent hairbrush, 4 gator style hair clips, 2 all-purpose styling combs, and a white towel. Next, for thermal curling, those supplies include 2 rat tail combs, 8 double prong hair clips, 3 butterfly hair clips, and 5 temperature test strips.
Next, we have highlighting with foils. Again, that's an optional task, so check to see if it will be required for your state. That will also be a barber styling only task.
And finally, with highlighting with foils, those supplies include a pintail foiling comb, 3 plastic duckbill clips, a dye brush, a dye bowl, plastic spatula, 6 foils, and for your Cosmock products, a simulated hair lightener and a simulated base protective cream.
Now, before we end, I'd like to go over a couple of tips just to help you prepare. I call those pro tips.
Pro tips with Marcel.
Your kit will be coming with a checklist. You may want to use that to go over each and every specific bag that are in your test. The checklist has a section for all of the bag that I showed you earlier, but in your case you may only have a subset of that, but there's only one checklist for all of them. So I recommend you go through each and every bag and make sure you have everything, nothing is missing, and it will also help you get familiar with your entire kit before the day of testing. Another tip I'd like to suggest is to prepare your supplies ahead of time. What I mean by that is some items in your bags may need to be opened from their original container. One example will be the shears in the hair cutting task. These come on a card and they have like little wrappers that need to be cut open. I suggest you do that at home before you head over to your test. It will make things easier. The other thing I suggest is to bring a good quality mannequin head on your day of testing. Your proctor will examine the mannequin head and it has to be approved before you can take the test. So that's something I would suggest you bring brand new at the day of test. At GL, we suggest our Richard mannequin, which would be perfect for your test. And this is what Richard looks like. It's got a plenty amount of hair for all of the tasks you would be needed, and it's a very high quality mannequin head. The other thing I would suggest is make sure you read your CIB or your Candidate Information Bulletin. It's got a ton of information to prepare you for your day of testing. You will most likely not be able to bring that with you on the day of testing. That's why it's important to be familiar with every single portion. Finally, I always like to suggest to seek professional advice from an instructor before you go to your state board test. Now, if you went through beauty school, this is going to be provided for you. They're going to prepare you ahead of time. But if you are an apprentice or if you've transferred from another state and you need to take your state board exam test, it's always good to get with an instructor and go over all the process. It will basically remove a lot of stress from that day and help you have a successful test score. So I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like our videos, be sure to hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's really good for us. And I'd like to thank you for watching and good luck on your test. Goodbye.